My name is Dennis Crawford, though everyone has always called me Denny. I am 65 years old, and I am currently living in a single room above a small cafe in Emptied, Thailand, surviving on whatever is left of my Social Security pension after the Thai bank finally unfroze my account. 9 months ago, I had $180,000 in savings money from selling my house in Boise, Idaho, combined with years of careful saving from my career as a long-haul truck driver. I had a wife named Kanjana, who everyone knew as Minty, a beautiful 37-year-old woman who cooked for me, took care of me, and made me believe I would never have to face old age alone. Now I have nothing. The money is gone, withdrawn systematically over 5 days while I was lying in a hospital bed fighting pneumonia, barely conscious, tubes in my arms, oxygen mask on my face, completely unaware that the woman I trusted with everything was draining my account and preparing to disappear. And Minty herself is gone to vanish the moment the last dollar cleared, her phone disconnected, her apartment emptied, every trace of her existence erased as if she had never been real at all. Her name was Kanjana Fechawan, but she told me to call her Minty because she said it was her nickname since childhood. We met through a Facebook group for expats in Pattaya in March of 2023. I had posted a photo of pad Thai I had eaten at a street stall, and Minty commented, "You eat like Thai man already. I am impressed." We started chatting, and she seemed warm, genuine, and down to earth. She said she worked as a massage therapist at a small spa in Jomtien, that she was saving money to open her own business someday, that she was looking for a good man to share her life with. We met for dinner a week later, and I was immediately struck by how comfortable she was to be around. She was not flashy or overly made up like some of the women I had seen in the bars. She wore simple clothes, had a warm smile, and spoke English well enough that we could have real conversations. She asked about my life, my work, my reasons for moving to Thailand. She told me about her family in Nakhon Ratchasima, about her struggles to make a living in Pattaya, about her dreams of stability and security. Within 2 months, we were living together. Within 4 months, she was calling herself my wife, and I was introducing her to other expats as such, even though we had never actually gotten married. Within 6 months, I had added her name to my bank account so she could help pay bills and manage household expenses when I was tired or not feeling well. She took care of everything: rent, utilities, groceries, even my medications. She made me feel safe, cared for, like I had finally found someone who would stand by me as I got older. And then, in early November of 2023, I got sick. Really sick. What started as a bad cold turned into pneumonia, and within days I was in Bangkok Hospital, Pattaya, struggling to breathe, hooked up to IVs and monitors. Minty visited me every day, holding my hand, telling me everything would be okay, assuring me she was taking care of everything at home. She said the medical bills were piling up, that she was coordinating with the hospital about payments, that I should not worry about anything except getting better. I trusted her completely. Why would I not? She was my wife. She was taking care of me. She loved me. But while I was lying in that hospital bed, barely able to speak, Minty was systematically emptying our joint bank account. $180,000, withdrawn in chunks over 5 days, $20,000 here, $30,000 there, $40,000 transferred to accounts I knew nothing about. By the time I was discharged from the hospital 10 days later, weak and disoriented and grateful to be alive, the account was empty. And when I returned to our apartment, Minty was gone. The furniture was gone. The television was gone. Even the kitchen appliances were gone. All that remained was a note on the empty kitchen counter that read, "I am sorry. I had no choice. Please do not look for me." This is the story of how I lost everything while I was fighting for my life in a hospital bed. This is the story of how the woman I trusted to care for me instead used my illness as an opportunity to rob me blind and disappear. And this is the story of why, in Thailand, you can never assume that the person holding your hand in the hospital is not simultaneously emptying your bank account. I was born in Boise, Idaho, in 1958, the oldest of 3 kids in a working-class family. My father worked for the Idaho Department of Transportation. My mother was a school secretary, and we lived in a small house on the west side of town. I was not much of a student. I struggled with reading and never really liked school, but I was good with my hands and good at figuring out how things worked mechanically. When I graduated high school in 1976, I got a job at a local trucking company loading freight. Within a year, I had my commercial driver's license, and I started driving long-haul routes across the western United States. I was good at it. I liked the solitude, the independence, the sense of purpose that came from delivering goods from one place to another. I spent most of my 20s and 30s on the road, sleeping in truck stops, eating at diners, watching the country roll by through my windshield. I got married when I was 31 to a woman named Brenda who worked as a waitress at a truck stop in Salt Lake City. We had a son, Jason, and for a while we tried to make it work, but I was on the road too much, and Brenda got tired of being alone. The marriage lasted 8 years before she filed for divorce. Jason was 7 when we split up, and I did my best to stay in his life, but it was hard. I was always traveling, always working, and gradually Jason and I drifted apart. By the time he was a teenager, we barely spoke. After the divorce, I threw myself into work. I drove long haul for another 25 years, saved what I could, and bought a small 3-bedroom house in Nampa, just outside Boise. I did not date much. I was on the road too often, and I was not good at relationships anyway. I was lonely, but I told myself that was just the price of the life I had chosen. When I turned 62, I started thinking seriously about retirement. My knees were shot, my back hurt, and I was tired of spending weeks at a time away from home. I had my Social Security pension around $2,000 a month, and I had saved about $60,000 over the years. My house was paid off and worth around $120,000. If I sold it and moved somewhere cheap, I could retire comfortably and maybe even enjoy the last years of my life. I had been to Thailand once, back in 2015, on a vacation with some buddies from the trucking company. We had spent a week in Pattaya, and I had been amazed by how affordable everything was, how warm and friendly the people were, and how much easier life seemed compared to the United States. I started watching YouTube videos about retiring in Thailand, reading expat blogs, and joining Facebook groups for Americans living in Pattaya and Chiang Mai. In late 2022, I made my decision. I sold my house in Nampa for $120,000, combined it with my savings, and ended up with about $180,000. I kept my Social Security pension, which would give me around $2,000 a month, even while living abroad. It was more than enough to live comfortably in Thailand for the rest of my life. I called Jason to tell him about my plan. He was 37, living in Portland with his wife and 2 kids, and we had not spoken in over a year. When I told him I was moving to Thailand, he was skeptical. "Dad, are you sure about this?" he asked. "You do not know anyone there. You do not speak the language. What if something goes wrong?" "I will be fine," I said. "I have been there before. I know what to expect. And honestly, Jason, there is nothing keeping me in Idaho. You have your own family. I am just ready for something different." Jason sighed. "Okay, Dad, just be careful, and call me if you need anything." I promised I would, though I knew I probably would not. Jason had his own life, and I did not want to be a burden. In February of 2023, I flew to Bangkok and took a bus to Pattaya. I rented a small 1-bedroom apartment in Jomtien for 12,000 baht per month, about $350, and I started building a life. I joined expat Facebook groups, made some friends at the local bars, and settled into a comfortable routine. I would eat breakfast at a small cafe near my apartment, walk along the beach, eat lunch at cheap Thai restaurants, and spend my evenings watching television or chatting with other expats. But I was lonely. I had friends, other retired guys from America, England, Australia, but most of them had Thai girlfriends or wives, and I felt like the odd man out. I wanted companionship, someone to share my days with, someone who would care about me and make me feel like I was not just counting down the days until I died. That was when I met Minty. In early March of 2023, I posted a photo in a Pattaya expat Facebook group. It was just a picture of pad thai I had eaten at a street stall. Nothing special, but I was proud of myself for trying authentic Thai food instead of always eating at Western restaurants. Within an hour, a woman named Kanjana Fechawan commented on the photo, "You eat like Thai man already. I am impressed. You are very brave to try street food." I clicked on her profile. Her photo showed a pretty Thai woman with a warm smile and kind eyes. Her bio said she was 37, worked as a massage therapist in Jomtien, and enjoyed cooking, reading, and spending time with friends. She did not look like the typical bar girls I had seen around Pattaya. She looked normal, respectable, like someone I could actually have a conversation with. I sent her a private message thanking her for the comment, and we started chatting. Minty, she told me right away that everyone called her that was friendly, warm, and genuinely interested in my life. She asked about Idaho, about trucking, about why I had decided to retire in Thailand. She told me about her life growing up in a small town in Nakhon Ratchasima province, moving to Pattaya to find work, learning massage therapy to make a living. She said she was tired of Pattaya's nightlife scene, that she wanted to find a good man and build a stable life. We talked every day for about a week before Minty suggested we meet for dinner. I was nervous but excited. We agreed to meet at a small Thai restaurant near Dongtan Beach. When I arrived, Minty was already there, sitting at a table near the back. She looked even prettier in person, not glamorous or heavily made up, just naturally attractive in a simple dress and sandals. We talked for over 2 hours. Minty asked about my family, my work, my dreams for retirement. She told me more about her struggles in Pattaya, about how hard it was to make ends meet as a massage therapist, about how she dreamed of opening her own spa someday but did not have the capital. She was easy to talk to, genuine, and she made me feel comfortable in a way I had not felt in years. At the end of the evening, Minty said, "Denny, I really enjoy talking with you. You are a very kind man. Not like most Farang who come to Pattaya. Most of them only want one thing. But you are different. You are real." I felt my heart swell. I told her I had enjoyed talking with her too, and that I hoped we could see each other again. Minty smiled and said, "I would like that very much." Over the next few weeks, Minty and I saw each other almost every day. We would meet for lunch, walk along the beach, or just sit at my apartment and watch movies. Minty was affectionate, but not overly so. She would hold my hand, rest her head on my shoulder, but she never pressured me for anything. She seemed genuinely interested in getting to know me. After about 6 weeks, Minty said her landlord was raising her rent and she could no longer afford her apartment. She said she was looking for a new place, but it was difficult to find something affordable in Jomtien. I told her she could stay with me while she looked for a new apartment. Minty hesitated, then said, "Are you sure? I do not want to be burden." "You are not a burden," I said. "I would like the company. And honestly, this apartment is too big for just me." Minty moved in that weekend. She brought only a few bags of clothes and personal items, and she immediately started making the apartment feel like a home. She cooked Thai meals for us, cleaned and organized everything, and created a comfortable domestic routine. It felt natural, easy, like we had been living together for years. Call to action. If you're watching this and thinking, "Denny should have known better," understand that Minty didn't look like a scammer. She was a massage therapist, not a bar girl. She was 37, not 22. She moved slowly, built trust, and acted like a caregiver rather than a gold digger. Subscribe to this channel and share this video to help protect others from the kind of long-game manipulation that cost Denny everything when he was at his most vulnerable. His story is about to take a devastating turn, and you need to see how quickly trust can be weaponized. By the summer of 2023, Minty and I had settled into a comfortable life together. She continued working at the massage spa a few days a week, and I spent my days relaxing, reading, and enjoying retirement. We would cook dinner together in the evenings, watch Thai television shows, and talk about our dreams for the future. Minty started calling me her husband, and I started introducing her to other expats as my wife. We had not actually gotten married, we had talked about it, but Minty said she did not care about paperwork, that what mattered was how we felt about each other. I agreed. I had been married once before, and it had ended badly. I did not need a certificate to know that Minty and I were partners. But as our relationship deepened, Minty started talking more about finances. She said she was worried about her family back in Nakhon Ratchasima. Her mother was getting old, her younger brother was struggling to find work, and they needed financial help. She said she was trying to send money home when she could, but it was difficult because she did not earn much from the massage spa. I asked how much money her family needed. Minty said maybe 5,000 baht per month, about $145. I told her I could help with that. I was living comfortably on my Social Security pension and my savings, and $145 a month was nothing. Minty hugged me tightly and said, "You are such good man, Denny. My family will be very grateful." I started transferring 5,000 baht to Minty's Thai bank account every month so she could send it to her family. Minty was always appreciative, always thanking me, always telling me how lucky she was to have found me. But then there were other expenses. Minty said she needed money for a visa fee to extend her stay in Jomtien. She said her motorbike needed repairs. She said the massage spa owner had asked her to cover some equipment costs. Each time, the amounts were small, 2,000 baht here, 3,000 baht there. I did not think much of it. We were living together, and it made sense to help with expenses. By September, Minty suggested we simplify our finances. She said it would be easier if I added her name to my Thai bank account so she could help manage bills and expenses. She said she hated always having to ask me for money, that it made her feel like a child rather than a partner. She said if we had a joint account, she could handle rent, utilities, groceries, and other household costs without bothering me every time something needed to be paid. I hesitated. I had heard stories about foreign men losing money after adding their Thai girlfriends to their bank accounts. But Minty was different. She was my partner. She was taking care of me. She was not some bar girl looking for a quick payday. She was respectable, hardworking, and she had never asked me for anything unreasonable. I went to Bangkok Bank with Minty and added her name to my account. The account held about $175,000 at that point, most of my life savings. Minty had full access, just like I did. She could withdraw money, make transfers, manage everything. Minty hugged me when we left the bank. "Thank you for trusting me, Denny," she said. "I will take care of everything. You do not have to worry anymore." And for a while, everything seemed fine. Minty handled all the household bills, paid the rent on time, made sure we always had food and supplies. I did not have to think about finances at all. I just enjoyed my retirement, secure in the knowledge that Minty was managing everything. In early November of 2023, I started feeling unwell. It began as a bad cough and a low fever. I thought it was just a cold, so I took some over-the-counter medication and tried to rest. But over the next few days, the cough got worse, and I started having trouble breathing. Minty was worried. She said I needed to see a doctor. We went to a small clinic in Jomtien, and the doctor diagnosed me with bronchitis. He prescribed antibiotics and told me to rest, but the medication did not help. My fever spiked. I started coughing up mucus, and my breathing became labored. Minty insisted we go to Bangkok Hospital Pattaya, one of the best private hospitals in the area. At the hospital, they ran tests and took x-rays. The doctor came back with bad news. I had pneumonia, and it was serious. My oxygen levels were dangerously low, and I needed to be admitted immediately. They put me in a private room, hooked me up to an IV, gave me oxygen through a mask, and started me on strong antibiotics. I was terrified. I had never been seriously sick before, and the idea of dying in a hospital in Thailand, far from home, far from my son, was overwhelming. Minty stayed with me that first night, holding my hand, telling me everything would be okay. She said she would take care of everything, the medical bills, the apartment, everything. She said I just needed to focus on getting better. Over the next few days, I got worse before I got better. The fever would not break. I could barely breathe, and I was too weak to even sit up in bed. Minty visited me every day, sometimes staying for hours, always reassuring me, always telling me not to worry. She said the hospital bills were expensive, but she was coordinating with the billing department, making sure everything was handled. I asked Minty how much the treatment was costing. She said it was around 200,000 baht so far, about $5,800, but she said she was transferring money from our joint account to cover it. I was too weak and disoriented to think clearly, but I trusted her. She was my wife. She was taking care of me. On the fourth day in the hospital, Minty came to visit and said she had some bad news. She said the hospital was requiring additional payments up front for continued treatment, that they wanted to make sure the bills would be covered. She said she had withdrawn more money from our account to secure my treatment, that I should not worry about it, that the most important thing was getting me healthy. I nodded weakly. I could barely speak. I was grateful that Minty was handling everything, grateful that I did not have to worry about logistics or finances while I was so sick. I spent 10 days in Bangkok Hospital Pattaya. The pneumonia slowly improved with antibiotics and oxygen therapy, and by the 10th day, the doctors said I was well enough to be discharged. I was weak, exhausted, and I had lost about 15 pounds, but I was alive. Minty came to pick me up from the hospital. She helped me into a taxi and brought me back to our apartment in Jomtien. During the ride, She seemed quiet, distracted. I asked if everything was okay, and she said she was just tired, that she had been so worried about me. I told her I was grateful for everything she had done, that I did not know what I would have done without her. When we arrived at the apartment building, Minty helped me up the stairs. But when I opened the door to our apartment, I immediately knew something was wrong. The living room was empty. The couch was gone. The television was gone. The coffee table, the bookshelf, the decorations Minty had put up, all gone. I walked into the bedroom. The bed was still there, but Minty's clothes were gone from the closet. Her toiletries were gone from the bathroom. The kitchen was bare, no pots, no pans, no appliances. I turned to Minty, confused and disoriented. What happened? Where is everything? Minty looked at the floor, tears in her eyes. Denny, I am so sorry. I had to sell some things. The hospital bills were so expensive. I had no choice. But where are your things? Where are your clothes? Minty did not answer. She just handed me a piece of paper, a note she had apparently written before I woke up from my nap in the taxi. The note said, I am sorry. I had no choice. Please do not look for me. I stared at the note, trying to understand what was happening. Minty, what is this? What are you talking about? I cannot stay, Denny. I have to go. I am sorry. Go where? Why? I do not understand. Minty was crying now, but she did not explain. She just turned and walked out of the apartment. I tried to follow her, but I was too weak. I stumbled to the doorway and watched her disappear down the stairs. I went back into the apartment and sat on the bed, the only piece of furniture left. I pulled out my phone and tried calling Minty. Her phone was disconnected. I tried messaging her online. The messages did not deliver. I checked her Facebook page. It had been deleted. Then I opened my banking app. My hands were shaking as I logged in. The account balance showed $2,300. I scrolled through the transaction history. Over the past 10 days, the 10 days I had been in the hospital, there had been a series of large withdrawals. $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. Transfers to accounts I did not recognize. Cash withdrawals from ATMs all over Pattaya. $180,000. Gone. Everything I had worked for over 43 years. Everything I had saved. Everything I had planned to live on for the rest of my life. Gone. I sat on the bed, staring at my phone, unable to breathe. Minty had not been paying hospital bills. She had been robbing me while I was fighting for my life. The next morning, still weak and disoriented, I called Bangkok Hospital Pattaya to ask about my bill. A woman in the billing department checked my account and told me the total charges were 132,000 baht, about $3,800. I asked if Minty had paid anything toward the bill. No, sir, the woman said. Nothing has been paid. The balance is still outstanding. We are expecting payment within 30 days. I felt my stomach drop. Minty had told me she was paying the hospital bills. She had withdrawn $180,000 from our account, claiming it was for medical expenses, but none of that money had gone to the hospital. I hung up and tried to piece together what had happened. Minty had used my illness as an opportunity to drain our account. While I was unconscious, weak, and vulnerable, she had systematically withdrawn everything, transferred it to accounts I knew nothing about, and then disappeared the moment I was discharged. I went to the Pattaya police station later that day, still weak from pneumonia, barely able to walk. I brought printouts of the bank statements, the note Minty had left, screenshots of our conversations. I sat across from an officer and tried to explain what had happened. "She is on the account?" the officer asked in broken English. "Yes." I added her name so she could help manage bills. "Then she can withdraw money. This not crime. This civil matter. You give her access, she use access. You want get money back, you need lawyer. Police cannot help." "But she lied to me," I said, my voice breaking. "She said she was paying hospital bills, but she was stealing from me while I was dying." The officer shrugged. "Many Farang have same problem. Thai woman take money and go. You should be more careful, but police cannot help. This, your mistake." I left the police station feeling completely destroyed. I went to a lawyer's office. The lawyer, a Thai man who spoke good English, reviewed my documents and shook his head. "I am very sorry, Mr. Crawford, but there is nothing we can do. She was a joint account holder. The withdrawals were legal. You would need to prove she defrauded you, which is very difficult. And even if we could prove fraud, finding her and recovering the money would be nearly impossible. So she just gets away with it? I am afraid so. This happens often. Women target older foreign men, gain their trust, get access to their finances, and then disappear. The legal system does not protect you because technically, you gave her permission to access the account. I tried calling Jason to tell him what had happened. He answered on the second ring, and when I explained, there was a long, painful silence. "Dad, you gave her access to your bank account," he finally said, his voice tight with anger and frustration. "She was my wife. I trusted her. She wasn't your wife, Dad. You weren't even married. She was some woman you met on Facebook, and you gave her access to everything you had. I thought she loved me. She didn't love you. She was using you, and now you have nothing. What are you going to do?" "I do not know. I was hoping maybe you could help me. Maybe send some money so I can..." "Dad, I can't. I have a mortgage. I have 2 kids in school. I can't just send you thousands of dollars because you gave all your money to some scammer. You're going to have to figure this out yourself." Jason hung up. I tried calling back, but he did not answer. I am now 65 years old, living in a single room above a small cafe in Jomtien, surviving on my Social Security pension of $2,000 a month. After the Thai bank unfroze my account, it had been temporarily frozen during the police investigation. I was left with about $2,300. That money went toward paying my hospital bill and basic living expenses. The room I rent costs 7,000 baht per month, about $200. After rent, food, and basic expenses, I have almost nothing left. I have no furniture except a mattress on the floor and a small plastic table. I eat street food and cheap Thai meals. I have no social life, no friends, no purpose. I spend my days sitting in the cafe downstairs, drinking cheap coffee, watching the tourists and expats walk by. I see older Western men with young Thai women, and I wonder how many of them are making the same mistake I made. Over the months since Minty disappeared, I have learned more about how common this scam is. I have talked to other expats who have been through similar experiences. Minty was part of a network of women in Pattaya who specifically target older foreign men for long-term caregiver scams. They build trust slowly, act as wives or partners, gain access to finances, and then wait for a moment of vulnerability, illness, hospitalization, an accident to strike. The timing of my pneumonia was not a coincidence. Minty likely saw my illness as the perfect opportunity. I would be unconscious or too weak to monitor the account, and she could claim any withdrawals were for medical expenses. By the time I was discharged and realized what had happened, she would already be gone. I now try to warn other expats about what happened to me. I post in Facebook groups, talk to newcomers, share my story with anyone who will listen, but I know most people will not take my warning seriously. They think they are smarter, more careful, that their girlfriend is different. I thought the same thing. Minty was a massage therapist, not a bar girl. She was 37, not 22. She moved slowly, built trust, acted like a caregiver, and she destroyed me. My name is Dennis Crawford, and I lost $180,000, everything I had, while I was lying in a hospital bed fighting pneumonia. The woman I trusted to care for me used my illness as an opportunity to rob me blind and disappear. I thought she was my nurse, my wife, my safety, but I was just her payday. I sit in the cafe now, drinking cheap coffee, and I think about those 10 days in the hospital. I think about how Minty held my hand, told me everything would be okay, assured me she was taking care of everything. And while she was holding my hand with one hand, she was emptying my bank account with the other. This is my life now. This is my future. And every morning when I wake up on that mattress on the floor, I am reminded of exactly how much it cost to believe that someone would care for me when I needed it most. Denny's story is a devastating reminder that the most dangerous moment in a relationship with a scammer is when you're at your most vulnerable. Illness, hospitalization, accidents. These are not moments when scammers show their true character by caring for you. These are the moments they've been waiting for to strike. If this documentary has opened your eyes to how calculated and heartless these operations can be, please subscribe and share this video. Stay vigilant, never give anyone full access to your finances, and remember, real love doesn't rob you while you're unconscious in a hospital bed. Thank you for watching, and please, stay safe.